I saw Christina Aguilera's Liberation Tour in Los Angeles, California at the Greek Theater on Friday, October the 26th. And honey, I wanted to film this video to really go in with a fine-tooth comb, a bedazzled fine-tooth comb, and just go through every single moment of the show with you. I'm gonna be showing some photos, I'm gonna be showing a few video clips, but honey, if you haven't seen my LA vlog video yet, then check it out first, I would say. The link is in the description. I share some highlights from the tour itself. So the lights go out in the venue. The clock countdown was at 2, which represented 2 minutes before the show started. The backwards clock, it was giving me back to basics tour intro visuals vibes. It goes to Christina in a stunning flower crown moment. She is running around what I believe is supposed to represent her childhood home. And she's kind of chasing after a young version of herself, like a young girl wearing basically the same outfit as her. I think she has like the same flower crown, maybe not the exact same outfit, but it's very reminiscent of the Fall in Line music video with her younger self and with Demi Lovato's younger self. And so she's chasing her younger self around this old house. The song playing behind this opening video was the Liberation intro, which is so haunting. Throughout the beginning video, you hear Christina kind of cooing. She asks, "Where are you? Are you there?" And it's just like really, really haunting, and there's like a beautiful echo. The only pops of color are really just the pink of her like slip that she's wearing, and I think she's wearing like this kind of throw with like different colors. There was also a really cool glitch effect. This is about to go a little bit fantasy. This is about to take us into like a different world. This interlude also was giving me some like Alice in Wonderland vibes. Christina is maybe even trying to chase the rabbit down the hole. And literally, honey, at the end of this video interlude, there is a build. She is running up the stairs and she finds Maria. She finds herself as a child. She falls down that rabbit hole. I feel like with everything Christina does, there is always a hidden message. There's always an underlying meaning, and that is what draws me to her work so much. And then you could also see it from the perspective of with the clocks moving backwards. Could it be even a Time's Up reference? I feel like there have been a few Time's Up and Me Too references within the Liberation body of work. I mean, hello, Fall in Line, that entire music video was the definition of Me Too and the Time's Up movement. The screen goes black. Christina found Maria, and honey, I think at this moment I was screaming literally bloody murder. I think I was. All you hear is her kind of whisper and coo, "I remember." The Liberation font goes on the main screen, honey, and it is big and it is beautiful, and I actually love the font. Honey, I live for that font. It's the same font that's on the sticker on the album and like the font that's inside the booklet. And then there is the Searching for Maria intro. Monique, one of Christina's longtime dancers, kind of prances out on stage and is dropping roses. And that was the first moment of the show that I really knew that this was not just going to be like a tour. This was going to be a mixture of theater, music, tour, choreography. As Christina mentioned in a radio interview, I think she was saying how it felt like a Broadway production as well as like a crazy amazing tour. I don't think she said crazy amazing tour, but honey, I'll just say it for her. And all of a sudden, the beginning of Maria starts, honey. Monique picks up those roses that she dropped and she skips off stage. And I am just shook because then, oh my God, I'm like getting chills just thinking about this moment. On the screen, it says searching, okay? And then you just hear, "I'm here." I think I blew a gasket. I'm not even kidding you. I think one of my vocal cords collapsed. All of a sudden, the screens turn into clouds. Honey, she is falling down the rabbit hole. Honey, it is Wonderland, it is fantastical, it is heaven, it is pure, it is light. Just bright, stunning, beautiful aerial clouds. And then in the middle, you just see a splash of red, like a red rose. Then just the opening notes of Maria are truly butter. And at this point, she's kind of fogged out by this main see-through screen that is kind of covering her. And it just feels like she's been transported to the beginning where she was truly Maria and she is led down those stairs by her dancers. I felt oddly at peace. I almost felt like, oh my God, like this is what the world has been missing for over a decade. It almost felt like, okay, here she is. Here's Maria. Okay, we found Maria. But at the same time, it was like, this is the first tour that Christina has put on in 10 years. It was a pinch me moment. I was literally just standing there watching, being like, wow, this is what we've been missing. And during the performance, she's kind of making these like subtle, like searching motions. Honey, Academy Award winning actress in this performance. She's literally like singing and kind of like, you know, searching. And I'm like, oh, why can't she see her? You know what I mean? Where is Maria? And then there's this super dramatic moment where her dancers basically add this like red fabric extension all around her. And then the dancers kind of go under her dress and start like, you know, moving their arms. And it's like this crazy, you know, red flowing fabric extension. The screens turn to just flashing images from every Christina era. Then you hear a voiceover and she's like, how did I get here? And it's just like so innocent and I just love her tone. Then she removes the rose crown and then says, it's time to face the mirror, which I believe is a direct reference from the Maria song, obviously. She then goes, this is my story now. Take this ride with me tonight. And I'm like, honey, I'm already on the magic carpet, okay? And I'm not getting off. Will you make me all right? And then she goes, let's journey back to my earliest inspirations. Then we are getting some Japanese vibes, honey. It feels like we are just, there are drums, there are like little flutes. Then we have her dancers coming out on stage in these gorgeous kimonos. They then take out these little umbrellas and kind of hide Christina. When they disperse, honey, Christina is in the most gorgeous kimono. I like when the artist goes through two different looks seamlessly on stage. And guys, this kimono in person was stunning. In photos, it's one thing, it's gorgeous. But in real life, seeing the different like satins and different fabrics that are meshed in with this piece, getting like reflections of light bounced off of the different parts was so mesmerizing. Of course, honey, for Genie in a Bottle, which is the song that she was doing, it worked. This was her very first era, and a lot of people were like, oh, like, I don't get it because it's like Japanese themed and like that wasn't really Genie in a Bottle. But one of her earliest inspirations was when she actually lived in Japan with her mom when her dad was in the military. And so I feel like it was the perfect marriage of her first single mixed with visuals from her earliest innocent childhood memories where she felt, you know, maybe the happiest or felt the most inspired, and those were memories that were formed in Japan. The screens in the background for this performance were everything. She was giving me like Sailor Moon, beautiful pink sparkles. We were like floating in a pink sparkly forest. It was like anime. It was gorgeous. Then there was a moment where the screens turned to like this dark red forest, and I was like, oh honey. Honey, she commanded the stage in Genie in a Bottle. She really did. There was a moment where she kind of like walked to the front of the stage and then like swung the kimono and like turned around and strutted to the stairs and then just like sat down on the stairs and killed it with this insane note. This was the first time I've heard the song like this. And even my partner watching the performance on my phone was like, I like this version better than the studio version. Like, it actually was a really well done remix. Sometimes artists will like kind of half-ass remix a song for their tour just to like, you know, change it up a little bit. But this felt like they didn't take the heart of the song away, but they added just the right amount of different instrumental to completely transform it. It felt elevated. Genie in a Bottle ends, honey, it is fade to black, and I believe Christina runs off stage for a quick change, and we get some of the most stunning facial visuals of the Queen I've ever seen. It is like Queen Tina of the Damned, honey. It is like almost vampire, dark, evil, fabulous queen vibes. Like I was getting evil queen from Snow White. She's rocking this gorgeous tiara. She has a liquid black lip, which is just so juicy. We came from this light, innocent, childlike moment from the beginning, and now, honey, it almost feels like we are getting into a moment that maybe might represent her coming into her own. She has found a new confidence, a new power. The queen is back. Honey! Honey wasn't on the screen, so I just added that, of course. And then the intro to Dirty, honey, just the classic Dirty. Just the doom doom the like, what is that noise? Like dirty. Doom 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 filthy. You know, it was that whole moment. I am just like, my heart can't take it anymore. It is just Christina sitting in this like throne. Before her first note, she has this like gorgeous mask that just comes up to here, just comes up right around her nose, and she just snatches it and puts it behind her. And honey, the way that she snatched this mask off her face was like, you blinked and you missed it. Honestly, it was just the fiercest intro to Dirty I've seen. I loved it. And then we got a chap reveal, which obviously I knew was coming because we've seen so many pictures of her in this gorgeous, re-inspired chap look designed by Gareth Pugh. It was everything. And I just loved the choreo during Dirty. She spent a lot of the time on the very top of the staircase doing the classic choreo. Honey, there was a moment where she did this like double ass slap of the girls. It was like bam, bam, or like bam, bam. I don't even know. I had whiplash. Just felt like a royal biker gang had rolled into town. That's what it felt like. I was intimidated. I was like, I don't know if I would want to run into these characters in a dark alley. I just don't think I would. I was a little bit scared, but intrigued and a little bit turned on. Then there's a moment near the end of the performance where she says, it's been a long time coming, but tonight we come together as one. I felt like the energy was the perfect ebbs and flow. It really had a good flow. You know, we had like the really soft beginning that was a little bit haunted, going into Maria, which was so like pulsating and like my blood was pumping. And then we go into like this completely different like pixie fairyland, which was Genie in a Bottle. And then honey, we had the hard ass leather biker gang, honey, for Dirty, which like revved me right back up. And then I love how she ended it by having the entire crowd basically go, oh, what? So she literally was like, and 1, 2, 3, and then everyone screams, oh, what? And then after Dirty, we went into Sick of Sittin', and she was rocking the same look from the Dirty performance. She kind of like said on the mic, this is for all my truth seekers, to all my fighters. I loved the growl in her voice on a lot of the verses. Like she really definitely was giving some rock and roll energy to the song. She also said like, you know, this is for anyone who's ever been in a position where they know it doesn't feel right. And obviously it's referring to her time on The Voice. A lot of the parts with the chorus, she was doing cute choreography. There were some fun moments where she was like, you know, kind of like flipping her hair, but she just had like a little bun. So like, it was just kind of like her rocking out. And there was a part in the performance where she said, this town can sometimes be so full of shit, but tonight we're real. And I was like, okay, like clearly again, going at The Voice, just going at the Hollywood machine, Hollywood people in general. There was this really amazing moment where they put the red chair that is supposed to represent the red chair on The Voice, and she goes, this shit was in my way, and just like pushes it. Then does like the cutest little like shimmy up the stairs. It's how I walk upstairs now. And when she gets to the top of the staircase, she screams, we are free, no more lies. Then she did this really great like da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, like choreo at the end, but she was like doing some like face movement and some kind of like throwing elbow movement. I think the whole audience just gasped for air. She took like a good 15 to 20 second water break, which was everything. I took in every moment as though she was taking in the water. I felt like I was getting hydrated as well, even though I wasn't drinking. Literally, we were just the whole theater was just watching her like take a sip of her water, and then I think I saw her like unwrap a lozenge and like pop it in her mouth, and then she just kind of like stood there and then like took the lozenge out of her mouth and put it back, and I was like, yes, bitch, like get your life. Honestly, take as long as you need. And then of course she comes back from the water break at the top of the staircase where we can all see her, and she goes, you know, I sometimes take long water breaks because my mic is turned on. And then she basically chatted with us, which felt like for a long time. It was great. It was really cool to see the level of production at the first few performances, and then for it to be toned down so quickly and for her to connect with us on like a one-on-one level was really great. It reminded me of when I went to see the VH1 Storytellers taping in Los Angeles, like in 2010. She did so much talking mixed with so much performance, and it really felt so intimate. And it even felt intimate watching it on TV, not even just the fact that I was in the audience, but the fact that she was taking the time to like talk to us, and she had really nice and sweet inspirational moments with us. She was talking about the fact that she felt like her soul was suffering by being away from the stage and being away from performing and touring. She expressed how much she had missed her fighters, and I think every fighter in the audience screamed back at the same time, "We missed you, bitch!" It was like so funny. She also talked about the fact that she was like emotional backstage before the show during the meet and greets because she was like, you know, seeing old friends and seeing familiar faces. She also talked about the fact that she loved playing outdoors. And honey, did I mention it was an outdoor venue? It was so gorgeous. Just being in LA and seeing her perform outside was like an absolute dream. Like, pinch me dream. And cut herself short and was like, there's a curfew tonight at this venue. I guess when you're playing outdoors, your concert has to end at a certain time just because there's like so many people that like live around the arena and can hear, you know, the noise, and your show has to end, I think, at 11 p.m. sharp. So all of a sudden she caught herself and was like, shit, there's like a curfew, so let's like keep it moving. And then she basically gave us a really stripped, almost acoustic What a Girl Wants and Come On Over at the top of the staircase. So she basically hasn't moved from the top of the staircase. I love that she did a more acoustic stripped down What a Girl Wants and Come On Over. It was almost like a sing-along too, because the whole audience was like singing along to every single word. She talked with the audience again. So basically she sat down on the stairs and she was joined by two backup singers who were so talented, by the way. And that's when she started to talk about the fact that Stripped had a 16th birthday, and the Stripped era basically like birthed her fighters, who are her all-time favorite people in the entire world. And I don't know if she said that, but that's what I felt she meant to say. And she talked a lot about the fact that, you know, Genie in a Bottle, that record got her foot in the door, and she's so blessed to have had that song. Even though it was, you know, kind of written for her and given to her, she was grateful for its success, because without it, you know, she might not have been where she is today. And she talked a lot about the fact that she doesn't want to perform anything or sing anything that's just given to her from a label. She also talked about the fact that she wants to share her own stories. She performed Keep On Singing My Song, and she was talking about the fact that like that sometimes the songs that aren't singles are like the best songs. And I was like, oh, I love that. And I thought that that was really cute. And it was a great experience hearing her sing that song live, because that like is one of my all-time favorite ballads like ever. It inspired me so much as a kid. I would listen to that song in junior high school over and over and over again. I would read the booklet and like try to memorize all the lyrics, and just like that song helped me so much. Keep On Singing My Song and Soar helped me astronomically. They still do to this day. But those two ballads from Stripped are just like, I'm getting chills now just thinking about them. That's the impact. So I love that she performed that song, because to be honest, I never thought that I would ever see her perform that song. So I was super grateful for that moment. And then, honey, she did Can't Hold Us Down. And then, honey, we got the Right Moves video interlude. And what I will say about these video screens, honey, she needs to release these all as music videos, okay? Like, she doesn't even need to release them on, like, her YouTube. Release them on your Facebook page, girl. I don't care. But I felt like that quality of film was so great. Her eye contact with the camera, the Right Moves video was like this heated, sexy house party, and she's just with all of her female dancers and they're just having like a fun, somewhat orgy-like party. I don't know, but it just looked fierce and fabulous. There's a scene where she's wearing a crown, she's in a bathtub full of rose petals, and then she just like disappears into the water, and it's just like hot tamale time. And then the dancers are slowly bringing in some candelabras and they're moving a table in. And that's also something I noticed too during this part of the tour is the seamless transitions in terms of the set pieces was done really well. Like I didn't even know, like I saw them, but it looked like they were all partying. Then the table is set, honey, and it is slowed down after Right Moves, and honey, it is Deserve. And whoo, that bing, that like heartbeat, that like beginning of Deserve, just the little like, it's almost like we are invited to the Last Supper. We just had a really fun, hot, sweaty house party, and now we are gonna get our shit together and we're gonna all sit down as a family and have dinner. The crowd, when Deserve started, the crowd literally sang along to every single word. And I loved watching her and listening to her sing Deserve because Deserve is my favorite song off Liberation. And to hear it live was an incredible experience because it does sound a little different than the album version. She has her live riffs and her live vocals throughout the track that isn't on the album version, but it definitely like made me appreciate the song more too. She also does this riff, oh my god, where she goes, "'Cause I love you, baby." Like she does this little gentle riff. I also thought there was a moment during the song, the no, where like they're all like kind of banging their glasses at the same time, and I thought that that was like, oh, chills. And then there is a screen on the background that then says, "If you're going through hell, keep going, excess." And then the song morphs into like this sexy Last Supper rave. They've had a sip of the wine and they're ready to sin. And then what I loved is the female dancers and Christina, in their glasses, they start pouring it out and it's glitter. It's like chunks of effing confetti glitter. And I had no idea. I had seen so many photos of Christina from the tour with these little like squares of gold glitter like on her cleavage. And I was like, oh my god, like what is this from? But it's because they like literally like pour it all over her. And I'm like, yes, this is what I needed. I never knew I needed this. And Accelerate starts, and honey, I love Accelerate. That song just gets me grooving. And then at the end of Accelerate, the song turns into a dance remix, and Christina's like, honey, this song is the #1, dance club hit on the Billboard charts. And she gives us a dance remix to Accelerate, which I was living for, and I still have not found the remix to. So if any of you fighters know what the remix name was during Accelerate, please comment it down below. And then, honey, we get into the Bionic Medley of the tour, which, let me be honest, I would not be mad if the entire tour was the Bionic tour. Honestly, she started the Bionic Medley, honey, with Elastic Love. I was like, Elastic Love, yes, Mama Bear. I'm living. I love that she did Elastic Love. I thought that that was so creative and so fun. Great table choreo. So she did part of Elastic Love, and then that morphed into Woohoo, which is one of my favorite songs off of the Bionic album, and I loved it. And I think she was kind of like standing on the table dancing, and similar choreo to the MTV Movie Awards, like moments of that choreo was definitely visible during that performance. And then she does the intro to Not Myself Tonight, and I didn't know she was gonna do that. And I like just start screaming, and my friend Cassandra starts screaming too, because she's like, you told me she wasn't gonna do Not Myself Tonight. I think she's doing Not Myself Tonight. But it was just like the intro. And then it goes into Bionic. At this point, the long table is like separated and it's like moved off stage. I would have maybe loved the Bionic portion of the show to have had maybe a different costume than the one she wore for Deserve and Accelerate. The lights go off and Christina goes off stage to change, and there are these really like quirky, cute, old-fashioned black and white cartoons playing on the screens with like kind of like hokey dokey music, like these swans kiss and it like forms a heart, and then there's like a princess and a prince, and it reminds me of like a Snow White moment, but like really old Snow White, like before the Disney version even. And it reminded me of in the Your Body music video when she's like watching, I think it's like an old school Sylvester Tweety Bird cartoon, and there's like the animated cleavers like flying in the air, and it reminded me of like those kind of quirky animations that we have seen her play with before. It turned the show into such a different direction, and I thought it was so cool. Christina comes out in that Victor and Rolf bed look. It's like literally a dress, but it looks like you're sleeping in sheets and pillows. Incredible couture piece. She kind of like wakes up basically, like, so she was dreaming of like these black and white cartoons, and then there's like a cute voiceover and she's like, if you follow all the rules, you miss all the fun. And it's just like so sassy, so cute. And then it turns into Express from Burlesque. And then she goes down the stairs and does the Express chair choreography. And honey, and I have literally, when I come up with my fantasy set list for Christina tours, I always have the snaps from Express turning into the Lady Marmalade snaps, or the other way around. I always have those two songs merge, and honey, she did that for the tour. And it was seamless. It was like E-X Press was on my soul, sisters. I don't think it was like that, but you get the point. It worked, it flowed, and it was just like a seamless transition. I loved the backing visuals for Lady Marmalade. It was like so editorial, it was so high fashion. She looked amazing with her smoky eye. So what I loved about the fact that Christina paired Lady Marmalade with these stunning, like red toned visuals was, it was, honey, giving me straight up Red Light District vibes. And we all know that Lady Marmalade was the lead single off of the Moulin Rouge soundtrack, which is such an infamous club in the Red Light District in Amsterdam. And so I always got Red Light District vibes from those visuals. And the first time we saw those visuals of her with the wet tousled hair and the fur were when she performed at the Formula One concert. And that moment I saw that, I was like, oh honey, Red Light District vibes. And then honey, after Lady Marmalade, we go into a blackout, Christina changes, and then, the lights, the infamous horns, and honey, we are into Ain't No Other Man. I loved the look. She was wearing this gorgeous, like deep red, like almost like a men's trench or like a men's suit jacket that went all the way to the floor. And I think she was wearing like the same black lingerie or the black like one piece underneath the red jacket. The note that she hits at the beginning of Ain't No Other Man for the Liberation Tour is like, she's morphed it. It's like X-Men. It's like Mystique. This note is Mystique. The opening note of Ain't No Other Man is Mystique from X-Men, honey, because it just shape-shifted. It took on a whole new form, and it was everything. I just remember being so moved by that track, and so anytime I've seen her perform it live, so I saw her perform it twice on Back to Basics, VH1 Storytellers, and I think the Liberation Tour is the fourth time I've seen it. It takes me back to that moment when I first heard the "Do Your Thing, Honey," like that big band. First time, just really nostalgic and emotional, and I just love seeing her perform that song every time. And there was a blackout, and honey, we then got the video screens for the Wonderland song, which I actually did a reaction to, and it is linked down below. But Christina actually released like a very short, music video moment for it on her Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And it's such a great song. And in the video interlude, it's like she has all these bottles with tears. I mean, the song is called Wonderland, so it's obviously referencing Alice in Wonderland. And as I've mentioned at the beginning of the tour, I got like Alice in Wonderland, falling down the rabbit hole vibes at the very opening with Searching for Maria, and then Maria, I just got Alice in Wonderland feelings. I even got some Alice in Wonderland vibes during Genie in a Bottle. I think it's like a present theme that is kind of woven throughout a lot of the numbers. Like I was getting some Alice in Wonderland vibes during Express, like when she wakes up, like the Then on the screen, there's just the word solitude, which is in the same font as the Searching font, which came at the beginning of the tour. And Christina and her backup singer, Slay, say something. Honey, it is no longer say something, it is slay something. That was, I have to say, one of the highlights of the tour for me. Say something. I didn't even think I would be as moved as I was from Say Something, but hearing her backup singer's more like soulful, raspy take on A Great Big World's part of the song, and then compared to Christina's like literally smooth, soft vocals for Say Something was just such a beautiful marriage of voices. It worked so well together. She literally was just sitting on the top of the stairs in like this amazing black like pantsuit, but it was almost like chaps for pants. Like there were these cutouts on each side and it just looked so cool. It fit her figure so beautifully. Her body looked amazing. Her face. The entire concert, by the way, my friend Cassandra the entire time was like, who's her dermatologist? Like, unbelievable. Her skin, like the queen of backwards aging, honey. Not even kidding. But Christina's sitting on the stairs and there's a giant screen in front of her and it's projecting a close-up of her face singing. And the vocals on Say Something were out of this world. I don't even remember her performance. I think she performed it, was it at the Billboard Awards with A Great Big World? This was like one of the best renditions of Say Something that I have heard, period, with a T, period. Amazing. She also performs her infamous cover of It's a Man's World, which she obviously is so well known for doing from the Grammys in that all white suit moment. Honey, when she like gets down to the ground with that mic, that was legendary. So she does that song, and while she's performing, there's like kind of like a tableau scene going on in the corner. An alcoholic husband who is abusing his wife, and as the song progresses, the wife regains her power and then basically takes control. Actually so surreal seeing her perform that song in person because I've only ever seen that song performed on the Grammys in that performance. So seeing it live, I was like, oh my God, this is like so crazy. And it just shows how much thought goes into the songs that she chooses to cover. Because if you think about it, like the fact that, you know, It's a Man's World was covered by her for that James Brown tribute so long ago, and yet that cover today is still so present and its message is so crystal clear and it just fits within the tour. Then, honey, she does Fighter, and this look that she is in, I think this is one of my favorite looks of the tour, this black suit moment with like the chap style pants. Just thought that the look moves so well too, like as she was strutting along the stage. I just loved the energy behind the performance, and you know what? I actually liked seeing Fighter not as a finale song because I've watched the finale from Back to Basics tour so much and I'm always just used to her running back and forth being like, you know, bowing in the left side, bowing on the right side, and then bowing until next time, you know, and the confetti. I'm just happy that we got Fighter as not a finale number. Also loved the placement of It's a Man's World and then followed by Fighter. I thought that the messaging behind that was really powerful. And then we got the Dreamers intro. The Dreamers intro is not my favorite interlude on the Liberation album, but I will say, seeing it on the Liberation tour, I really liked how there were, you know, childhood photos of Christina with her mom, and I think there were other photos of her dancers as kids. And then Christina came out in a white dress, and it was one with like the amazing voluminous shoulder pads, honey. And let me tell you, she came out and honey, Diva Tina was alive and well, and I was gagging on the drama that she was giving us. So she comes out and there's a bunch of smoke on the stage, and immediately she's kind of like, like you can tell that she's a little bit bothered, and she was like, you know, I love performing outside because I can like look up and see the stars, but I can't see the stars tonight because of all this smoke. I mean, can we cut the smoke, you guys? Like, oh. And like she was clearly a little annoyed, and I was like, look, you could hear a pin drop. I'm not even kidding. And then she goes to pick up her water bottle, but it's empty, and she kind of just like drops the bottle and goes, I'm not afraid to ask for some water. And then like someone comes out and like brings her a water, and she sips it and she like thanks. I think it was one of her backup singers who came in and brought the water, and she was like, oh, thank you, you know, whatever. But it was just like so fabulous. And what was hilarious is when she was like, oh, you know, so much smoke, come on guys. The moment she asked for no more smoke, it's almost as if the smoke disappeared. It's like, listen, smoke dissipates. It takes a little while for it to go away. But the moment she asked for the smoke machine to be turned off, every smoke cloud in the world disappeared. It was like in a cartoon, when a cartoon runs really fast, it's like, pew, and there's just a little smoke, like from them running like that. The smoke ran off the stage, literally. It was everything. And my friend Cassandra was saying, she was like, you know what? If you're a singer and you are singing live vocals, you are allowed to express concern over the surroundings and the environment where you are supposed to be using your instrument. Honestly, you know that clip of Beyonce performing where she's like doing the single ladies dance and she's like, someone's getting fired, or it was the diva dance and she's like, someone's getting fired. That's all I could think of during that part of the tour. But what killed me was she revealed that due to the time curfew, they had to cut a song. And I assumed just from photos that the song that was cut was Fall in Line. And you know what? I was really upset by that. I literally was like, when she said that they cut a song, I was like, to the parking lot then after the show. Like I literally was like, let's move the show to the parking lot. I'm gonna take it to the parking lot, you know, and I bet you somebody's gonna call the cops. Uh-oh. You know, here we go. So I literally was like gonna protest. I was like, I am chaining myself here. I want the whole show. Like I literally was like, no, like heartbroken. That aside, I calmed down and she performed twice. So before Twice, Christina spoke to the audience briefly about light and darkness and finding the balance in your life, like balancing the negative and the positive. There were also some really beautiful introverted visuals of a moon, I believe. So like half the screen was a white moon and a black sky, and the other half of the screen was like a black moon and a white sky. Like it was really graphically quite beautiful. And Twice was cool. The way that she performed Twice was different from the song on the album. She definitely experimented a lot more with her voice in the live performance. And as I mentioned before about Deserve, it was really interesting to see how she kind of switched up the style for the live performance. And I think I even watched a few different versions of the performance from other tours, like other stops on the tour, and it was interesting to see slight changes in her vocals for that track. After Twice, there were these stunning video interlude visuals of her in a pool. They're the same visuals that we saw at the Formula One concert. She's like underwater, her like mascara and her liner is a little bit damp and her eyes are piercing, and it's to this really stunning instrumental. I wish I knew where it was from. It was like so haunting but so beautiful at the same time, really calm and peaceful, and it was just like, I love a good water visual. I love anything with like ripples and waves and the reflections of the water on her skin and just those shots of her with like the water up to here, and her fucking eyes are just piercing like into my soul. It was so purifying. It almost felt like she was giving herself like a baptism at this point of the Liberation Tour. Like she was letting go. It felt like she was allowing the water to just envelop her and to kind of erase, you know, past fears, past hardships. It just felt like a restart. a refresh. And oh, again, getting chills. Next was Beautiful and Honey. She came out in a purple silk robe. When it comes to the costumes that had layers, there could have been more play with those costumes. So if, you know, Christina comes out in a purple robe, instead of maybe leaving the stage to change for the next song, she could just maybe take the robe off and be wearing something underneath. Obviously, if the costume is so intricate, has a lot of volume, is too big to fit under a robe, that can't happen. There were a few points of the concert where I felt like a quick change would have maybe kept the pace of the show a little bit higher, because every time like the lights went down and Christina left, you know, these are smaller venues. They're not like arena tours where she's getting lowered down and there's all of these mechanics in place. She's, you know, literally just walking off stage, changing and coming back out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I've seen a lot of concerts where the artists, you know, do their costume changes that way or take little mini breaks. But I just would have loved maybe to take advantage of the fact that you're wearing a robe, girl, and that can come off and there can be something underneath, you know? But doesn't really fit with a lot of the set list for the tour, but that was my only thing regarding the costumes, is I felt like there were a few missed opportunities for some fierce and fabulous quick changes. She performed Beautiful. She wasn't wearing any shoes. It reminded me of the Searching for Maria video documentary that she released on YouTube. I think in past tour stops, she was wearing that like exact same robe that she was wearing in the video, and I would have loved to have seen that. But yeah, she was just, you know, it was really beautiful. She let the audience sing a lot of the song. There was a lot of sing-along. It felt like a very uplifting and inspiring moment in the Liberation Tour, and I felt like, especially coming after the like, you know, cleansing underwater visuals, to have Beautiful and come after was a perfect part of the set list. I think that was a great placement, and I think that Beautiful really complemented that underwater visual and vice versa. We go blackout, and there is a really beautiful love letter that Christina reads to the audience. At first, it sounds as if she's reading it to, you know, maybe her significant other, her partner, her fiance, but it ends up actually being for her fighters, which I thought was really touching. And I wrote down some of what that little speech or that little letter read. And she said, guide me home. She said, a love that has brought me here tonight to take back my dream again. All of my fighters, my tried and true, keeps me strong. Your love has kept me going and keeps me strong. I love you. And she basically dedicated the next song, which was Unless It's With You, to her fighters. And so I thought that that was really lovely. Like, you know, obviously she's not marrying us, but like, you know, the song is, you know, I don't want to get married unless it's with you, unless it's with you. And I just thought that it was like the perfect love letter dedicated to her fans and her supporters, but also at the same time still dedicated to Matt, her fiance, and just I feel like that is like the new perfect wedding song, the new perfect first dance song. I feel like that is going to be played at weddings like all the time, if not already. It's just such a stunning song. And she comes up on the top of the stairs and she's in like a veil, this like very elaborate white, like flowing, fluffy, with little accents of black lace. It's like a modern, really modern, kind of futuristic take on like a wedding dress. It's really creative and definitely different. And, you know, Gilbert takes off the veil and she starts Unless It's With You, and there's like these beautiful visuals. I think there were some church elements to the visuals, if I'm not mistaken. Loved hearing her sing that song live. I really, really did. And then Christina basically comes down, and now the couple that Christina brought on stage were the two most lovely, wonderful people, I have to say. Eduardo and Jose was like one of the highlights of the tour for me. They ended up getting engaged on stage. They were both wearing Liberation Tour t-shirts, and they both seemed so genuinely happy and in love. So the moment that Eduardo started speaking about how much he loves Jose, and then when he proposed to Jose, the grin, the smile on my face was So big, so huge. I did tear up. It was like such an emotional and beautiful moment of the night. Congratulations on your engagement, guys. Mwah. So then Christina finishes Unless It's With You, and then, honey, after the wedding comes the celebration, and it was Let There Be Love, the only track from Lotus that Christina performed on the tour, I noticed. During Let There Be Love, Max and Monique Slaughter's son, Christina's dancer son, came out on stage too, and Max was like doing these cute little dances, like that little like, what's that dance? I don't even fucking know what it is. And then he was like dabbing, I think, and it was like so cute. Then Christina disappeared right at the end of Let There Be Love, okay? And the moment she disappeared, all the dancers and the kids came up and did like a bow, but like Christina wasn't in the bow. And I was like, honey, where's Maria? Is this like a twist? Is this a twist ending? Do we now need to search for Maria all over again? Girl, where are you? And then literally, I don't think a lot of people caught this. So everyone was bowing. Christina was nowhere to be found. And I was like, this is so strange. I then see her running, kind of like running along the edge of the stage, holding Summer Rain, because she wanted to bring Summer Rain out on stage too to like dance with Max and Monique's son, and it was so sweet. But literally the moment she got on stage, the moment she came back, they cut the lights, honey. They are not messing around with that curfew shit. So then I saw Christina like holding Summer, and then they all like went off stage. But I thought it was so crazy. Like Christina just really wanted to like share Summer Rain with the audience and have Summer Rain like have an experience with her brother on stage. And it was a bit of a bummer that it like ended the way that it did. But honey, final thoughts. I am still so emotional from the Liberation Tour in Los Angeles at the Greek Theater. It happened more than a week ago, and I still think about it every day. It left me emotionally drained, but in the best way possible. I felt almost like emotionally hungover the next day. I was just like in such a daze. And the absolute highlight for me from my entire trip, other than seeing Christina, of course, was meeting and spending time with all of the fighters that I experienced on this trip. Honey, it makes me smile from the inside out thinking about how incredible these fighters are. And I will honestly never forget spending the time that I did with them. I will cherish it for the rest of my life. These are people that I am so blessed and so lucky to be able to call friends. And I am just so happy that we were all able to share the experience of this tour together. And I think it would be amazing if there was like some sort of like digital, doc regarding the tour. I think that would be so amazing. This is the hoodie. I love it. I kind of forget how much this cost. I literally didn't even look at the prices. I was like, this is the one time in my life where I'm not even gonna worry about how much money I'm spending. I'm just gonna get the merch. Really happy with the quality of the hoodie. It has Liberation. It has Liberation on the sleeve. Then on the back, it has all of the tour dates. The second item I bought was the opening ceremony Liberation Tour long sleeve t-shirt. Now, I love this picture of her so much, like so much. And to be completely honest, I never really understood the whole opening and then ceremony on the sleeves. Obviously, Christina was like a major fixture during New York Fashion Week, and she, performed at the opening ceremony fashion show where all the amazing drag queens performed with her as well. I never heard anywhere that she had an official collaboration with opening ceremony. But when I saw opening ceremony on the sleeves, I was like, okay, well, obviously there's some sort of like relationship there, especially since she did the opening ceremony show in New York Fashion Week. So obviously there's some sort of connection there. And this long sleeve t-shirt, I believe, was $75. And honey, tour merch is expensive. I really try not to bat an eyelash when it comes to like the pricing of items at a tour or at a special event. There's always going to be upcharge. Like, they want to make a really big profit. So I never really get too wound up about pricing of these items. But, you know, my friend Vince, he kind of made a funny point, which was the fact that, you know, this shirt is Gildan. And listen, no tea, no shade against Gildan. I have a lot of Gildan t-shirts. They fit really well. They've actually lasted a long time. But, you know, if you're familiar with Gildan, these are like the types of material shirts that you can buy at like Michael's or any craft store for like $2.50. Girl, you know what I mean? So no one's claiming that this shirt was made by opening ceremony, but when you have like a brand like on your article of clothing, I think that could be a little bit misleading towards some people, and for me wasn't an issue. I'll be so honest. I love that, you know, we also get the tour dates on the back of this. I kind of wish that maybe we just didn't have this opening ceremony here. This is how you do a printed t-shirt, because honey, the quality of this t-shirt is so soft. This feels better. I already can tell that when I put this on, it's gonna feel a lot better. And also, this print is way better than the opening ceremony print. Can you see them side by side? So I would have to say that this t-shirt really actually wins. And I'm so happy that I grabbed this one. I would love if this had said, "Suck my D." I would have loved that, but it's all good. And then of course we have the Christina logo on the back. And let me know your favorite looks, your favorite costumes, your favorite moments from the tour if you saw it. If you've been watching the tour on YouTube or watching it on Twitter, like different clips, let me know what your highlights are from the Liberation Tour. My highlights for sure, really, really quick, was Maria. The intro, Maria, Genie in a Bottle, Dirty. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from me, then subscribe to my channel. And if you hit that bell icon, you will be notified every single time I upload. Follow me on social media if you want. My username is @NadiWeb or @XtinaPride for my Xtina fan Instagram and Twitter. And then my YouTube channel now has a Facebook page, facebook.com/NadiWebYouTube. Until my next video, mwah, bye.